Alright, in this video I'm going to go over some troubleshooting steps related to the WE Glock Hopup unit. A couple of things that will happen with these. First one is these screws can get loose. Easy way to fix that is use probably a little bit of blue, not red, blue Loctite on the threads. You don't need a lot, just a little bit. And when you re-thread those in, those won't walk out. Second problem is this wheel can get really loose. So when you're shooting it, the hop-up will adjust on its own, plus or minus. There's a couple ways to fix that. We'll go into that in a moment. And the other issues is like feeding issues. So I'm going to disassemble this real quick and go over a couple of those problems you can fix. So for the wheel adjusting itself, there's a couple ways of fixing that. You can use some very, very thin AEG shims, probably like 0.1s, that would fit underneath the bottom of the pin that the hop-up dial rotates around. You can do that. The other thing I've seen is you can use very, very small O-rings. The WE one does come with one on there. Just in case it gets torn, you can find a very, very thin one. A cheaper and sometimes easier option is you can actually use tinfoil. So you would cut a very small piece of tinfoil, cut a section for the hole for the pin, and just stack the tinfoil until when you put everything together that the hop-up dial barely moves on its own. I find that the O-ring method is easiest, but the problem with the O-ring method is you have to find O-rings that small. And again, just make sure that when you reassemble the unit, that you're able to move with your fingers still. Other problems is that your BB is curving to the left or the right too much. Most of the time, that will be from the bucking not being lined up in the barrel correctly. So just when you're reassembling it, eyeball it, check everything, make sure everything's lined up to the best of your ability. The other thing is making sure that your hop-up arm is completely straight on top. Now, if for whatever reason your BBs are still hooking after you checked all that, you can bend this very slightly. I wouldn't recommend it just because of the way these work. These are always, when it pulls down, it's going to pull down on this side. So it's going to be very hard to get this to pull down straight and still adjust it. I recommend doing some upgrades rather than doing that if you're having that kind of problem. If your bucking is torn, the WEs are actually slightly off-spec than normal gas blowback parts that are standard with Tokamuris kind of stuff. They're actually very different. I'll go over that in the next video. If you're going to find the bucking, stick with the WE brand Glock bucking. I think E-Bike has them. You can order overseas, buy someone's park gun, etc. But make sure it's the WE one and not like the Garter or even some of the Maple Leaf or the /Aritech stuff like that. So just make sure you get the correct bucking for this. Other problems, barrel's bent, you're gonna have to replace the barrel. Again, it's different than everyone else's barrel for whatever reason. If your hop-up unit is cracked for a reason, you can find them sometimes, but most of the time you just have to replace it. But yeah, that's all the common problems I've seen with these. I haven't had any feeding issues with these or swelling from using silicone oil or anything like that, so I haven't had any problem with that, but it's mostly just a hop-up wheel adjusting its own, and then the screws coming loose, which you can use Loctite for. If you have any questions, let me know.